Today, I want to talk about all things journaling. I'm a journaler. If you know me, then you know. Even when I'm on vacation with my friends, I will set aside some time to sit and journal. I've been journaling to some extent as long as I can remember. Although I will say that when I found my journals from years and years and years ago, I wasn't journaling at the same consistency as I do now. It was kind of like I might get a whim one night to write out some poetry or write out some thoughts, but it wasn't part of my regular practice until more recently. That being said, I've always been a write it down on paper girl. I used to just have, I shouldn't say I used to, I'm speaking too soon. Sometimes I still have random notes, lists, affirmations written down on random pieces of paper that tend to get scattered all through my house, but collecting my thoughts instead in journals has been such a positive thing. There is no right or wrong way to journal, but I know that it can be a little bit intimidating sometimes to get started. So I'm just here to kind of let you into my head and my mind and the process that I use when I'm journaling. I also wanted to give you all some journal prompts to help get you going as well. You don't really need much to journal. There's a lot of things that you can get that are fun, but do you need them? I mean, not really. The number one thing I would say that you do need is a journal. Here is my current collection of journals, and obviously a pen. It can be any pen. This is literally a pen that I got for free from some sort of a business. You can get fancy pens as well. I personally like pretty journals. I just want to journal more when I have a beautiful journal. This is subjective. Do I need a beautiful journal? Absolutely not. But for me, I will spend a few extra dollars on getting one that I really, really like. One of my favorites has been this Grow one from Papaya. This is one that was gifted to me by my mom, another really beautiful journal. This one is actually a little bit of a better size. I'm clearly a multiple journal girly, and I'm not necessarily somebody who fills one front to back. I have different journals for different categories of my life. Not pictured here are some that I use for business type stuff or taking notes when I'm watching something or learning something. But I also kind of like to have different journals for different seasons of my life. So even if I haven't filled up the journal, if I feel like I'm transitioning to a different season, it oftentimes feels like now it's time to start using a different journal. That's just me. Everybody is going to be a little bit different. The size of the journal does matter. This is my favorite one to look at. I can bring it with me on days when I have a large tote bag or a large purse. Then of course it's easy to carry. Sometimes I want something smaller that I can just slip into maybe even a really large coat pocket, but into a smaller bag. It's just lighter if I'm going to be walking around all day, something light that I can pull out and write on. This is the current one that I'm using. I kind of like it when they have these little rubber bands that save your page. There are other ones that have a bookmark, but some sort of a way for me to tell what page I'm on. That way I can seamlessly open it up. Obviously, you need writing utensils. Often I'm just using a basic pen because I'm often journaling on the go. So if I'm on vacation, I usually don't feel like bringing all my pens with me because who needs to pack all of that? Or even if I'm on public transportation, if I'm in my car waiting to pick somebody up, or say I get to a yoga practice or a meet up with friends a little bit early, I will often just sit in my car and spend that extra time journaling some thoughts down. And in those cases, I'm just using a regular ass pen. Oftentimes, like I said, a free pen that came from a hotel or a business. However, when I'm journaling at home, or if I go out to a park or something with the intention to sit and journal, I will usually bring my fancy bag of pens. And inside of this fancy bag of pens, I just have pens that are different colors. I also have highlighters in there. I don't typically use my highlighters in my journal. They just kind of live in this pouch because they don't have another home. These things are fun to have. It can be fun to journal in color, but they're not necessary. Creating a positive space. As I said before, I will literally journal everywhere. But when I first really intentionally started journaling, I primarily journaled at home, and I still like to create spaces to journal. I like it to smell good. When it comes to sensory experiences, smells is one of my favorites. So I will either light a candle that I love, light some incense, something to just get me kind of in the mood and in a good headspace. If I have time, I will meditate before I journal too. I love journaling in the morning. I also sometimes journal midday and evening. Again, there's no rules, but I just find that sometimes in the morning I have this like stream of consciousness that needs to come out onto a page. I also love to have a warm drink ready when I journal, whether that's a warm cup of tea or a coffee, and I just like to get in a cozy space. Often I'm sitting right here if I'm journaling at home. For some reason, I tend to sit in front of my couch, cross-legged, and kind of use my coffee table. I often will just journal like a stream of conscious thought. I'm journaling like on public transportation while I'm out and about. It's usually a thought that I've had circulating in my mind. It's not always about emotions, although sometimes it is. Just for some examples of random things I have journaled unprompted, I created a 3-page entry about how people from our past are portals to previous timelines, and it was just a flow of conscious thought that probably doesn't make the most sense. It even includes, I will like edit and scratch things out. So it's not always beautiful. Sometimes it is. I see a lot of beautiful journal entries on Pinterest and Instagram. My journals don't look like that yet. I do want to make more of a scrapbook diary style journal though, with photos and everything. So I think I'm like easing into this in the next page of my life. But right now it's really just a place for the overflow of thoughts that are inside of my mind to have a home and to come out. It's very great for processing emotions, but also just processing like thoughts and theories. We live in a world where, or at least I find myself when I'm on social media, sometimes getting confused, like what are my beliefs and what are the beliefs that I'm just seeing regurgitated around me. So journaling has been a really nice way for me to just tap in to myself a little bit more. Sometimes I will just write down lists. Writing down lists is actually one of my favorite easy ways to journal. For example, I went to Miami this summer. So I wrote down my favorite Miami memories. I didn't even go into detail on this list, but by jotting this down, I can hold on to those memories and tap back into them when I reread my journal. Some of my entries might be 3 pages long. Some of them are 1 line. On this day I wrote, I easily and joyfully create abundance. And that was all I wrote. Sometimes I will write down quotes from books that I am reading. I will write down, just like different lists and graphics. I'm a big writer. I have tried a couple of journals that are guided. I have mixed feelings about these. While I do like prompted writing sometimes, I have a hard time consistently writing every day. And something that's guided, especially if it's repetitive, like if it's the same thing every single day, I get bored and I don't stick with them as much. However, I do think those could be a good tool for somebody who's a little bit more nervous about journaling and a little bit more nervous about seeing where that path takes you. One of those things where it's like, don't knock it until you try it. Another thing, sometimes I will wake up and I will write down my dreams in detail. I'm a big dreamer. I remember most of my dreams, and I personally believe that not all of my dreams, but some of my dreams have messages in them that I am meant to decipher for my waking life. So I love to write down my dream in detail. I love to use it as a tool for manifestation as well. I have some journal prompts for you. I should mention too, while we're here, sometimes I will journal streams of thought onto my phone, my iPad, even in an Instagram story. There's definitely been posts where I've written the post and I've been like, damn, that should have been a journal post. And in situations like that, I will typically rewrite what I wrote. I will rewrite it into a journal later because I don't know. I like to have all of that stuff in one place. I made 3 different categories of journal prompts. I will start with the journal prompts for self-love. Write a love letter to yourself. You can write down 3 ways that you've grown in the past few years. Write down 5 things that you love about your body. Write about the things that you can talk about for hours without getting bored, because these are the things that make you you. Write about 3 things that you forgive yourself for. Script a list of I am affirmations and write a list about when you feel the most like yourself. Here are some journal prompts for growth. What do I want to become for myself and for others? What are 3 things I can do to help my community? Who do I want to become, and what does a day in her life look like? I recommend being very detailed here when you write about what a day in the life of the person you want to become looks like. What is something I've been too scared to start? What are the things holding me back from starting this? What does the earth give me, and how can I give back to the earth? What things have others done for me that made me feel special and loved? How can I pay it forward and make others feel this way too. Write a list of things you find inspiring. Here are some prompts for manifestation. Visualize your ideal life 5 years from now. Describe it in detail. What limiting beliefs do you have? Challenge them and rewrite them. Think about and visualize the ideal version of yourself. Write about their life in detail. What time do you wake up? What are your daily routines? What do you eat? Who are your friends? Where do you live? Etc., etc. Get super, super detailed in the script. At one point, I went as far as to write a daily schedule with timestamps down to the minutes of what I would be doing in my ideal life. Imagine yourself achieving all your goals. How does that feel? Write down what that feels like. I hope that these prompts inspire you to start journaling. I am actually going to make a PDF with these prompts on them too, so I will include a link down below if you want to download the free PDF as well. And happy journaling.